this video, I'm going to be showing you how to manage OBS Studio and Streamlabs OBS. If you're new to this channel or live streaming, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can know more about live streaming. The schedule will be down in the description down below since I am trying a new thing. I placed the timestamps right here if it's down in the description down below, and also on your timeline right here. So go ahead and tap the screen and you're going to be seeing all the timestamps that I'm going to be covering for you. So you might have OBS Studio currently on is your computer, which is perfect. Go to the link in the description down below if you had not downloaded it yet, because this is mainly going to be OBS Studio. If you're here for Streamlabs OBS, go to this timestamp. So this right here you might be seeing is a button named Studio Mode. So you might be wondering, what does that do? Well, it basically just splits your screen in half and you're able to transition in between different scenes. Before we go into scenes, we should check out is the settings. Let's go ahead and click on settings. And now you're going to be prompted into general. In general, you can choose your own language and theme. I would recommend to turn on is automatically check for updates on startup. For output, you can select any of those. For source alignment snapping, I usually just keep everything as a default, but I have it enabled for 10 seconds. So the next tab we have is called Stream. So in the Stream tab, you can select as your own service, such as Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, Restream.io, Twitter, and a lot more. So on this, you're specifically going to be clicking on YouTube if you're just going to try and live stream onto YouTube. The server would be the primary YouTube ingest server because YouTube has its own just like the rest, unless it's going to be on your own custom server. And there also is a backup YouTube ingest server. Right below server, you might be asking me, what is a stream key? So to find your stream key, you would go to YouTube. Right here in YouTube, you would be clicking on create right next to the waffle. Below where it says upload video, click on go live. So this is the new YouTube live stream studio. So in here, you would get access towards your stream key. You can just click on copy. You don't have to play the catch-up game. Then the stream URL, backup stream URL when you need it. Then for the stream latency, I would choose low latency. Once you've got is your stream key, you just click on apply, then OK. So here in output, you might be seeing is simple. Change that to advanced. So through the output, it's going to be asking you streaming. So this does not work on all computers, desktops, laptops, and so on. So you will have to do this on your own. Pick whichever higher one you have. So I currently have is Quick Sync H264. So I clicked on Enforce Streaming Service Encoder Settings with a target usage of balanced, profile high, keyframe value 3, asynchronic depth 4, rate control CBR, bitrate 2500 kilobits per second, B-frames 3, with the content adaptive quantization. Right after streaming, there is recording. In recording, my type is standard you would ever choose. Mine currently is OBS Recordings in 2020 fall, because it's fall. Recording format, I currently have an MP4, even though people say that MP4 in OBS does lag out. But if you want to do a different format, choose FLV or MKV. That's what I recommend. The audio track, I have it at 1. Encoder X264. You can also use Sync or your own stream encoder. I have it at CBR, 2500 kilobits per second. 0 keyframe. CPU usage very fast. Profile none. Tune none. X264 none. So you might be wondering what. So that's what we are currently on in audio. But this is not really audio. So in track 1, it's going to be asking you what your bitrate is. So you don't need to fill anything except for just placing in the number 160, which should just be there by default. The final button in the output will be the replay buffer. You won't really need a replay buffer unless you really want to use it. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something with sports or football or hockey or whatever. Similar to that to give you is a replay of what just recently happened, which might be useful for college sport. So I have an audio in general is a sample rate of 44.1 with the channels in stereo. If you want it to be in mono, it will be 2.5. If you want it to be in mono, you are going to be getting is 2 files showing the left and the right. With stereo, it is one full track. No. With stereo, the audio file will be mushed together to give you is a left and the right all together. For the desktop audio, choose speakers/headphones. But if you have it connected to an HDMI or close to that, you can go ahead and click on whatever option yours show. With a mic/auxiliary audio, mine is currently on microphone Realitech audio. But if you have a webcam and you want to use your webcam audio, go ahead and choose. If you have a webcam, go and choose your webcam microphone selection if it appears. And you will have is more options to add in audio 2, 3, 4, and so on. In the meters, there's a decay rate. I place that as fast with the sample peak and a monitoring device. So the monitoring device on yours will be speakers/headphones or default. So we're done with audio. So now we go to its video. So in video, your base resolution or your canvas size will be depending upon your monitor screen. So your monitor screen might be exactly 1920 by 1080. For mine, it is 1366 by 768, which gives us an aspect ratio of 683 to 384. For the output scale of the resolution, I would have it at 1920 by 1080 if you can get it up to 10 megabytes per second. But if your Wi-Fi is below 5 megabytes per second, or if you don't know, go ahead and check out test.net, which is going to be in the description down below. If you have 5 megabytes per second or lower, you should 1280 by 720. This will still give you a 16 by 9 ratio. For the downscale filter, I chose Billionaire with a common FPS value of 30. If you go below 30, such as 29.97 or 24, it will give you a look of the normal human eye. So right below video, you might be wondering why are there hotkeys. It's just if you want any shortcut on your keyboard. Just be careful when you're typing though. And finally, in the settings, we have is advanced. In advanced, I have my process priority as normal, video Direct3D 11, color format NV12, color space 601, with a color range of partial. This may vary depending on what device you are using or computer. In recording, it's also going to depend on what type of computer you have. For automatically reconnect, I enabled that to an entry delay of 10 seconds and a maximum tries of 20. This will let you when there is a connection problem to let OBS still have the chance to reconnect your stream to your streaming service, such as YouTube, Twitch, and so forth. So in yours, it might show only one scene. So what that scene does is it gathers all of your sources together to display during your live stream or recording. To make a scene, you would click on the plus sign and add. You can name the scene anything you want. You can even name it desktop screen capture if you're planning on showing your screen. Through this, you will click on sources, then you will right click, hover over add, and add in display capture. You can name this also anything you want. So I can name this display capture number 2. And there's my screen. If I want to show my other screen, I can go ahead and do that. And you can lock it. So you might be wondering why are there transitions in studio mode? It's so then you can fade it. You can fade it in, and you can also fade out. You can also choose other scene transitions, which is what I'm going to be getting, which is what I'll get to soon. So in scenes, you can also add an audio input capture, an audio output capture, a browser, a color source, a display capture, game capture, image slideshow, Lua clock, I'm gonna get to that soon, media source, scene, text, video capture device such as a webcam or a DSLR, There's a Windows capture and group. With group, you can group up all of your sources all into one to keep you organized. You can also place graphics on here, but they must be in a PNG file. They cannot be in JPEG. As you can see right here, it is currently transparent. So if I overlay another source using media source, which is able to show as your intro before you start, or either a new layer to a scene, we're going to click on browse and upload the video test file. We're also going to place that in loop, but in your case, you might not need loop. Then I am going to be clicking on transition. Now it shows the video. With loop, this will help me figure out where to organize this. Then I can move my sources. So now I have is a test file overlaid that is in a PNG file that's transparent. So any background I place it on, it is able to be on there. So with the media source, when it does play, it will give you an option right here. But in this case, we don't have music on the file. But if you do, be careful. Now we covered all the main parts of OBS Studio. So now let's go and visit the view. In view, you will have your full screen interface, which is going to let OBS take over your entire screen. There's a dock. You can set up your docks, such as scene, sources, audio mixer, scene collection, controls, or stats. For your toolbars, you can list your list boxes, your source icons, status bars, and multi. This one is usually what I will really like. So if I click on right here with multi-view windowed, I'm able to change the size of what I see in my multicam. This will be great for churches, colleges, and so on. So right below here, you're able to see the first scene, the second scene, third scene, and so on. So in program, that is what is going to be live. Just remember that you will need hotkeys in order to transition between scenes when you are using multicam view only. So right here in profile, you're able to add different type of profiles. I don't really know which type of profile, but you can import, export, or whatever. If you know about profiles, go ahead and place it in the comments down below. I really want to know this. I really want to know about this too. Right here is scene collection. This is able to give you this is able to allow you to switch in between many different type of scenes, many different type of situations you want, such as if you have a confirmation, an event, or either some type of gathering or an Easter event at your church. So here, just click on new and type in the name of the new scene you want to place in the scene collection. This is also cool to have is OBS create your own scene collections and save it as a file. So then if you use something like Streamlabs OBS one day, you're still able to use it. So right here is tools in your taskbar. In your taskbar, you can use tools to add in a virtual cam, which is going to come up in a video soon. So just hold on and subscribe if you want to know about it. Scripts, output timer, automatic scene switcher, captions, and deck link output. But for the output timer, this can help you if you're live streaming a freeway or something with nature such as hummingbirds and so forth. You can stop recording at a certain amount of time. You can stop streaming at a certain amount of time. Just press on start every time you want to do it, or click right here and enable streaming timer every time. You can also do this with recording, but you can pause the timer when you are pausing your recording. So I'll click on close. In tools, you will also have scripts. So the default scripts that you will have is clock source, countdown, and instant replay. If you want to use instant replay, go ahead, but you'll have to search up more videos. So with clock source, it will add a Lua clock towards your sources, which is going to give you an animated analog clock. So the Lua clock might be helpful for your church, parish, and online event. Countdown will be able to tell your parish, event, and online gathering and people who participate in your online gathering how many minutes until you are going live. Also place a final text. So that is all what I currently have for OBS Studio, but if you want to learn more about live streaming in the future or more about camera technology or similar to that, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon so that I can continue on with it. Check this video about the GoPro Hero 9 up in the iCard above and about the SL2. See you later. Welcome to Streamlabs OBS. So you might have had chose Streamlabs OBS because you're able to connect it to your phone. Did you know that? Streamlabs OBS, it's almost similar to OBS itself. So in here you will have is your own mini feed, your sources. If you had OBS Studio before, you can import all of your scene collections right into Streamlabs OBS. That's awesome. So right here in settings, you will have a lot more settings. In general stuff. You can insert is your streaming service, YouTube gaming, and stream key, just like OBS. For output, change your output mode to advanced. I currently have my audio track on 1, encoder X264. I'll change that to QSV. Just know that the output for your streaming will vary depending on your computer or device you're doing it on. My target usage is balanced, my profile is high, keyframe 30, acidic depth 4, CBR is my rate control, with my bitrate at 2500, B-frames 3. Recording, I have it on this part of my hard drive. That's fine for now. For my recording format, you can use FLV, MP4, or MOV. I would use MP4 at the most, even though it's not that great with screen sharing. My audio track is at 1. Recording is using the stream encoder. I can also change this to my QSV, but just remember this will vary depending on your computer. Now in audio, I have my audio bitrate always at 160. It should be there by default, and there's a replay buffer. So in audio, I have my sample rate at 44.1 kilohertz with my desktop audio device 1 and mic auxiliary device 1. So in here, I can input as my desktop audio device LG full, and in mic auxiliary, I currently have it on Relatech. Once you're done, you can click on done. In video, I currently have my canvas resolution at 1366 by 768. It does not have to be that resolution. Just keep your resolution whatever the software placed it. My output resolution, I currently have it at 1920 by 1080. This is for when you go onto speedtest.net and you have 10 megabytes per second and higher as your upload speed. If you have 5 megabits or slower, for sure use 1280 by 720. My downscaler filter is at big cubic. I would change this to linear. For my FPS type, I would use the common FPS value, and my common FPS value is 30. If you want to know what FPS means, it means frames per second. Here in Hotkeys and Streamlabs OBS and also OBS Studio, you're able to insert a certain number or key on your keyboard to give you access to start a stream quicker. Such as, to start streaming, I can place this as my number pad number 1, and stop streaming, I can use number pad number 2. But I don't usually use hotkeys. In advanced, we got process priority and all of this stuff. You can go ahead and go to this timestamp if you want to know about it. So in scene collections, you're able to import everything you currently have in OBS Studio to Streamlabs OBS. If you are thinking of changing to Streamlabs OBS, you can just import your scenes. And then for notification, appearance, virtual webcam, and game overlay, I have that all as default, but then you will have the option for a remote control. This is able to connect to your phone app called Streamlabs OBS. This can be in the Google Play Store or in the Apple Store for iOS. So right here, you're going to have one scene. You can add in another scene for a specific type of scene that you will have, such as zoom in 1 or desktop screen. Right here in sources, you're able to add your source, such as image, color source, and all of these types that you see on your screen. In this case, we're going to use the image slideshow. We can click on add source. You can name it if you want to. So right here in slide mode, you're able to place it on automatic for advertisements or manual. In manual, you would need to set up hotkeys in your set, so then you are able to, at your own speed, show a document or a lyric of a song. The transition I have in between, in the milliseconds in between slides and transition speed, will be 8,700 for mine. To add your image files, right below automatic, click on the plus sign, add files, and insert your files into Streamlabs OBS. Up here you will now have it in view. So now you will see that it is transitioning in between each and every slide. You can also add is a media source. So with the media source, you're able to place your intro or either an entering into a parish or a chirp. So when I add this source, I can click on loop just for setting it up, but I would recommend you not to place it on loop. Now I have it here in my preview and it is changing to the proper ones that I placed. As you can see right here, it is movable. So as you can see right here, it is movable. Okay. So you might be wondering that in OBS Studio, there is a studio mode. So in here, you can enable studio mode. So right under where you see the Windows icon, go ahead and click on it, and it's going to give you a studio mode. In studio mode, you're able to change what people are able to see from your edit to live. So if you're still thinking of getting a camera, go ahead and check out the SL2 video right up here. Or check out the GoPro Hero 9 video right down here. And subscribe right on my face.